Hello everybody, this is Renegade Rousey, and this is the Left Hook Boxing Show. And just a commentary, I guess you'd say, on the fight between Vitali Klitschko and Cristobal Arreola. You know, Arreola really gave it a good effort. I felt bad for the guy because he trained hard for the fight, looked good for the fight, fought with a lot of courage to try and win this fight, but it just was not to be. Vitali Klitschko just showed that he is a championship fighter. This fight, in many ways, reminded me of the Mayweather-Marquez fight, where a fighter who has the advantage, a physical advantage, being the reach. I think he had like a 5-inch reach advantage on Arreola, and he also had the height advantage. You know, when those guys would stare in, I don't know how. Arreola, they had the weigh-in there, and they got in the stare down, and here Klitschko is like a half head taller than he is, and he's just staring him down. And, you know, they usually stare for a few minutes and they walk away, but Arreola didn't want Klitschko to outstare him, so he sat there and they just stared at each other. But, man, I think, I always try to put myself in the position of the fighter, but if you're looking up at a guy like this, big old dude, man, I would have been intimidated. But Arreola did not seem intimidated in the least. He got in there, fought the best that he could. But one thing I'm learning in watching boxing is distance is very important. If you have the advantage with the reach and the height, man, that is a huge advantage. Arreola, when he would go in trying to close the distance, trying to put the pressure in, he's got his hands up like this, walking in, and he had him up good. And Klitschko hit him pretty good. His face was swollen pretty good, but he kept his defenses up pretty good throughout the fight, Arreola did. But Arreola did not ever seem to be in the danger of getting knocked out, but it was just accumulation of blows, just jab, jab, jab. And like I say, Arreola, to go in to close the distance, Arreola comes in, got his hands up like this, but Klitschko's just back there with his hands at his sides, just jab, 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 and also straight right hand. And when you can do that, man, when you can keep that distance, and he not only kept the distance that way, he moved, and then when Arreola would close the distance and get in there and finally get a chance to throw some punches, Klitschko would do the clutch. He didn't do much clutching because he didn't have to, because he was able to keep Arreola off with the jab and the movement. But when he did get in close, Klitschko would do the grab on him. And then I thought the referee was a little too quick to break him up once they clutched, because that was the only time that Arreola had a chance, because he was in close and he could throw some punches, and he might have been able to land something at that point. But the ref separated them. I guess that's, what they're supposed to do. But to me, it was like Arreola climbed all that distance up a mountain, like a slippery slope, and got almost to the peak to where he could throw some punches. Whoo! And then he slid all the way right back down, and he had to start again. And that is a frustrating thing, I'm sure, for a boxer to have to endure. But Arreola kept pressuring away, kept going. He was really upset when Ramirez called a halt to the fight, his trainer. But, I think it was the right thing to do. As boxing fans, we always like to see it go the distance, because you never know. You never know in boxing that somebody might be able to come up with that one punch and rock somebody's world and win a fight, even though they've been dominated throughout. But I think most people didn't see that happening. And Ramirez seems to really care about Arreola, as most trainers do, and he didn't want to see his fighter take on any more punishment in the fight that he was being dominated by. I had every round going to Klitschko. I think it was the eighth round that Arreola came in and put up a pretty good effort. But then, like Lampley said, in the 9th round, after Arreola had a pretty good 8th round, Klitschko just started pummeling away at him, and that's got to be discouraging. But a great effort by Klitschko, great effort by Arreola, although just in a losing cause, because, like I say, Klitschko very skilled at keeping that distance. Just like Mayweather did with Marquez. He kept the distance. He didn't get in there and bang away. Arreola fought a fighter named McCline, and McCline was bigger than he was too. But with McCline, Arreola was able to get in close the distance, and slug away, and he got McCline with an uppercut and put him down. But Klitschko is just too skilled and too athletic. 6'7", an athletic boxer. He was able to keep that distance with a jab and with a movement, and then when Arreola would get in close, hey, grab a hold, separate, and then Arreola's got to start all over again. But, you know, kind of a boring fight. That's the sad thing sometimes about boxing. The best boxers usually don't necessarily put on the most entertaining fights. And the fights that are most entertaining are the ones where the guys just like to get in there and bang it away, and there's not that advantage of the height and the reach. And but anyway, still entertaining. It was if you like a clinical exhibition of boxing, Klitschko put it on. Mayweather put it on against Marquez. Two quality boxers. Great effort by them. I think the only one that's going to give Klitschko a challenge is the brothers, if they get in there. And I don't know that they'll do that, but that'd be interesting to see if they do. But anyway, for now, this is Renegade Rousey, and I'm out.